unprepared, ill-informed, but here we are anyway. We're still waiting for my main man Chulo Rich to join us, and in the meantime, I will say hello and welcome to Urban Academia. We are here every week, Saturdays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, before he gets here, I'm gonna play us a little video because it ties in today's topic, which is how to love. And of course, well, okay, let me put it this way. One of the things that I've always been interested about is if you believe, let's say, this whole belief of God, right? Do you believe in God? Do you not believe in God? And I think it was an interesting way put in cinema and books that if you don't believe in God, you have very real experiences with the devil, and that's how you know God exists, right? So we're trying to do a play on the word love because knowing about how to love has a lot to do with knowing how not to or to hate. And that's one of the things that we are going to be talking about today. Now, last time we were here, I believe, we played a clip. It's a clip, shout out to Jordan Peele, Michael Jordan. I don't know. Keaton Peele. Sorry. I don't know the names. Michael something something and something Jordan. Anyway, um, that show, Key and Peele, they had a very funny sketch, and I'm gonna play that for you, and then kind of bring back to you why we even brought this back this week. All right, enjoy. All right, so that was from Key and Peele, man. Shouts out to them. Please don't sue us. So yeah, we played that because um, we had a friend who in the comments last week said, "Hey, he's a white guy." He said, "Make sure that I'm invited to that barbecue." And we got to talking about that because, of course, I was like, "Yeah, man, for sure, come on through." An event of a racist zombie apocalypse where racism is so deeply embedded to some people that they actually they don't even want to even when they're the Walking Dead or whatever, they still don't want to partake because of the racism. But that kind of ties into what we were going to be talking about together, um, about just how, first of all, how deeply rooted some of these things are, but how Black people can kind of still have a good sense of humor about a lot of it. About a lot of it. And my main man Chulo Rich had a good line in one of our private conversations where I asked him, I was like, why is it that not only different races but Black people as well, how is it that we're able to move past issues in our community a lot faster than a lot of different issues in other communities? And one of the things he said, oh man, I'm gonna butcher this. Chulo, where are you, man? But no, so he basically said if you walk barefoot for so long, what's gonna happen to the bottom of your feet? And I was like, where are you gonna get a callus? And I was like, oh. And therein lies our wonderful tag for this beautiful show, um, which is, how you can build up a callus. My weightlifters out there understand that if you're bench pressing or doing anything, you build on your hand these calluses, right? You won't see them on mine because I'm a little out of shape. I've been out the game for quite some time, but I do understand that callousness kind of helps a lot of the way. What's up, Cap? Man, listen, Jordan Bills, man. I wish look. We're not to the point yet where we start handing out, little gifts and prizes, but man, you would be number one on the list. Appreciate you for joining the show, which kind of reminds me about this too. If you guys want to join in, chat with us, talk with us as we, know, anticipate the arrival of young Chulo Rich, just go on right ahead and click that link there in the comments. Whether you join us from Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, any of our many locations. We really want some engagement with the audience, man. We'd love to hear from you. Now, if you ain't got your hair did or whatever, and you even want to share, as brave as I am, because I'm, locking my hair and just letting it go for right now. Yeah, you can do audio. Follow the prompts. Make sure you just don't add the video. Otherwise, we love to see your pretty smiling faces or handsome men faces however that works. But yeah, click the link and join us. So yeah, as he says, oh man, on CBT, that's it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So yeah, man. I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like, especially with this past thing with with the Dave Chappelle thing sort of kind of colliding with this NFL news with the John Gruden thing, and of course more things are happening in the NFL that was covered on another show. But this idea that this white guy can talk about this black dude, how big his lips are. He says his lips are the size of Michelin tires. He called him dumb. These are very stereotypical, like old timey stereotypical tropes, right? These are one of those very subtle jabs that, certain people, kind of can do and laugh and move on. Now that coach wasn't fired or really nothing really happened to him. He came up with an excuse. He said, "Of course, I don't have a racist bone in my body," which is a it's a seems to be a staple with people like that. And we just kind of moved past it. This man coached on the Sunday night after that Friday was released, and then some things came up about women. Some things came up that were homophobic, and against the LGBTQ plus community, as well as some kneeling things. And then that man didn't even wait for the storm to hit. He just, don't want to be a distraction to the team. Sorry for what I said. Peace. And he just quit. He just quit. This man was getting paid $100 million, I think, over 10 years as a coach. That's an incredible, incredible, um, oh my goodness, that's an incredible opportunity for him. Yeah, man. So they were able to move past the black stuff and take it with a grain of salt. This is Chulo. I'm on the way. Jordan Bills is Chulo. Man, I am so oh, is that you passing messages? Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, tell him I'm drowning up here, but yeah, to join us. But yeah, man. So this is one of those things that we were able to get past the racism. Like, well, maybe he did mean dumb. There was an NFL player who was like, yeah, I have heard him, use that excuse before, right? And then when all the homophobic stuff comes out, the sexism stuff, when you collide against LGBTQ plus or the Me Too movement, then there's no question you just got to go away. And I'm not saying anything to disparage any other community, because we need to be looking at these things with nuance, with patience with each other, getting as much information, real information out there as possible. But I just find it very interesting how that's allowed to happen. We can call black dude, big lips. We can call him dumb, but you better not say anything about anything about gender or anything about women's rights or anything. You're just gone. And I don't know. I don't think the answer is, well, I think anybody who makes racist statements should be treated the same way as the other communities. I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying we have to understand the degrees of these things. That coach, you know, saying these things about the black community like that, or someone from the black community should have been treated the same way, but he didn't feel the need to, you know, retire or resign at that point. It wasn't until the other things were added that he decided, oh, I need to retire. I need to get up out of here. Right. Oh, okay, cool. Give me a sec. All right. So yeah, man. So one of these things tend to happen, right? You have these things happen to where we can just sweep some things under the rug while, expanding on others. It takes just the tip of the iceberg in order to get some justice repercussions, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I just thought that was a very interesting thing. Now, this is around the time where I feel a little skittish. I feel like maybe I'm going on too long, drolling about, all these very real issues. And every now and then, we just got to take a breath, recruit, recover ourselves, right? So this is kind of where you come in and we get these what do you call them? I think Rich and I would kind of call them what do you call it? Just little distractions. So when we play this video, as we Chulo Rich is in the backstage. What's up, man? Hang in there. We're gonna play this video and then come on back to you.
What are you doing?
I had a flat and I need a spare tire.
What's up, Mr. Rich? Look, I messed up with the videos. I don't know how to blow it up there. But if y'all couldn't see that, this guy like he grabs his girl's stomach. She asked what he was doing. He then turns to her and tells him, "Yeah, I needed a flat tire, and so or I had a flat tire and I needed a spare." And that's when she sprays him. What's up, Mr. Rich? I know this is a crazy way to come on to any sort of show, but I'm glad you made it. What's happening, man?
What's happening, brother? Everything kind of crazy right now, so it is what it is.
I hear you. I'm glad to see you just around and still smiling. So, well, how much of that did you get to hear, man? Because we were kind of.
I didn't hear a lot of it, man. I've been moving around and situating and everything.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So yeah, so basically, the title of today's show is "How to Love," and I went through this long diatribe about if you want to understand how to love, you also have to understand the opposite of that feeling, right? Which is how to hate, right? To kind of recognize some things and kind of shore up the defenses. I know I probably butchered this, but I tried to slip in there your analogy, because I asked a question to the audience: how is it that Black people are able to just kind of let things roll off of them, go with the flow, sort of thing, and other races, right? Something happens to Black people, we all kind of feel what we feel, but we're quickly able to move away from that. And I know you said something about like what happens if you're walking down the street with no shoes on. And I was telling them about how I was like, well, you get a callus and then had that sort of moment. Come on
Now
in
look,
with your
I'm doing this live, so I can't show you my man's right now, but he has a big callus on himself. Part of the reason he has a big callus on himself is because of the people he hangs around. He can take a joke. And if he couldn't take a joke, this nigga would not have walked in front of me with these shorts on right now. And I can't show you these shorts.
Oh, man, that's cold-blooded. Don't do
this
it
is
like
a part
that.
of us making calluses on ourselves. And if we sent him to school without a callus on him, man, it would hurt him more than it would help. You feel me? My man, boy, you a real nigga. I said, you a real nigga.
Oh, man.
He's them running shorts, goddammit. You motherfucking right.
Hey, he's getting ready. Get himself. Look, man, I need to put some running shorts on myself.
The point is he understands the joke. The point is that yes, they do have soft foot motherfuckers in the world. There are soft foot people, and there are soft hands and soft shoes and all of these different titles, right? So a soft foot motherfucker, that's a person that every step you take hurts. Every time you move, man, you're in pain. You can't get anything accomplished. You know what I mean? In the South, you got people that, man, been playing sports and running and playing and doing all type of things. These niggas don't even have shoes. I love my mother. My mother is everybody loves their mother, right? My mother got some of the toughest feet I've ever seen in my life. At the bottom of her feet is a layer around yay thick, and that layer is from walking around barefoot or whatever, you know what I mean? But you could take that two ways. You could take that as an asshole and just, oh, this nigga saying his mama got thick feet or whatever. I don't know what or you could understand the metaphor behind it. It's having tough skin.
The metaphor behind it. I love it, man. Hey, is that music too loud? I'm sorry. This is horrible production.
Go ahead, bro.
No, is the music too loud?
Nah, I can hear you. You got it.
You can hear me fine? Okay. Just making sure, people. Yeah, man. Now continue, please. Because this idea of soft-footed people, right? If you're just joining us, we're talking about why Black people are able to take jokes and let trauma and all these things sort of roll off of us or go with the flow, or seemingly so. seemingly so. Yeah, I got a couple of lawyer friends, and they always hit me with the. It seems like it. Like they never agree on like to just say stuff. Shout out to people at the show I love, Fermenting Opinions over there on Facebook. Man, I enjoy being on that show. Just a bunch of lawyers talking about different cases and stuff. Check it out. I think it's very interesting. But that's kind of what they do. Because I came on there with Dean one time and we were very emotional. Like, well, here's what needs to happen. It's like, well, why do you think that needs to happen? Well, because you just seen him shoot the dude. Well, why was he there?
Yeah.
Why was it was just question after question. It just really made me, think about it a little different. Shout out to Terrell Wilson, man, for turning us on to that.
What's happening, Slank?
But yeah, man. So that's kind of what we got. And so if you're just joining us, we did this video. We revisited Racist Zombies. And it's basically a Key and Peele sketch where the premise of it is that racism is so ingrained to this white neighborhood that they refuse to their zombie version refused to eat black people.
He said, if you black, you don't have a chance. Okay, if you black, you can't even be dinner. That's that. You can't even be lunch if you black.
Yeah,
that's that.
But I think the ending is the most important thing. Another black dude comes up on, walks up on Key and Peele and is like, "Hey, isn't this great? These racist zombies are leaving us alone. Come on, we having a party." And they're like, "All right," and they follow him to this barbecue, this cookout that's happening with a bunch of black people because all the racist zombies are just letting them be. But the idea of taking that ridiculous, crazy situation and just flipping it to oh, well, I guess it means it's a party. Just being able to go with the flow, kind of getting into our thing, how to love. Now, what happened was we had one of our white brethren, shout out to Craig Jude, who was like, "Hey, y'all better make sure y'all invite me to that barbecue." Now,
and you can come. You're invited. You're invited to the barbecue, my guy. But when you get to the barbecue, you got to understand it's not the same barbecue you may be accustomed to. But you're invited. You are invited, my guy.
Yeah,
Special invitation, red solo cups up. You are invited, my guy. You can come to the barbecue.
Oh man, shout out to Craig Jude. We had a little project too. Craig, where's the camera? Craig, I'm getting on it, I promise you. All right, so I think the main thing, because people know Jude, man. He can roll with the best of them. He'll be fine. But I think you gotta
have those feet that we was talking about earlier. You gotta have those. Right. You gotta have that tough skin. If you come to the barbecue is a family-oriented thing. It's a loving thing. This is how we love. You feel me? But at the same time, you gotta understand what you're signing up for. This ain't that and that ain't this. It ain't all the same.
Right. Well, I think that's one of what it got me and Rich talking about though was exactly what you said. You're invited to that barbecue, but here are a few ground rules. You got to have that tough skin. You got to understand how we love each other. Right, you big head XYZ. You talking about my main man's running shorts. You know what I mean? That's how we love. Right. I think that was the biggest thing that we wanted people to get out of that. We're gonna drag you in cards and dominoes and let you hear it, but it's all love.
I will slap the table. You know what I mean? I will slam the dominoes down, make all the other dominoes jump off the board. I will slap the last card on the table. I will lick my finger, lick my forehead, slap the card to my forehead and make that the last one and make all. But you got to be okay with this. And if you can't play with me, don't play with me. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. That's a part of the barbecue. You wanted to come, you wanted to eat the food, you wanted to get all of the different things that are joyous and loving, and well, that's loving and joyous too. Just may not be used to it.
Absolutely, man. Hey, and don't be biting us. Right? That was the other caveat. Come on through, but just make sure if you contracted that, zombie virus, don't be biting us, man. Don't be biting us. So yeah, look, let's take a
You know that ain't
quick
gonna
little
happen
break.
anyway. You saw the video.
Right. So we did the flat tire one. Man, look, the production is a little bit lacking, but we'll do this a lot better. As Mama stated, this is what happens when you do stuff last minute. But I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
pulled a couple of TikToks, man, that I thought would lighten the mood when we have these sort of conversations. So we'll just pop this in the middle of us right here.
Hey, babe. Would you still love me if I was fat?
Yeah, of course.
But Mom, you are fat.
Fucking kids, man.
Kids say the darndest thing. Isn't that how it goes?
You are fat. Right,
Mom,
man.
you are fat. That dude spit out his drink. You know he gonna be in trouble. You know he gonna be in trouble. So yeah,
Everybody
that was
else you
one of the
because you
things.
ain't pay no bills.
Right, man. So look, shout out to my other partner, man, Anson King out there. He's got me reading his book for our book club coming up end of this month. The Untethered Soul was it by Michael A. Singer, right? And we touched on this a little bit in our private conversations about getting the idea, a picture that of who's inside who you are, right? And that voice that you hear that may be telling you, man, just lay down for 5 more minutes. Man, don't worry about taking the trash out tonight. You know, for kids, like, don't worry about your homework. You know, that voice, that's not you. You're the person who hears the voice. And then, you know, the book kind of breaks it down to where, like, it goes as far as trying to personify or this thing inside you, or imagine that you're talking to another person. Right, because if some stranger came up off the street into your house and was like, "Hey, man, just hit that snooze button. Don't worry about getting up right now."
You give it to me.
It's an issue, right? It's an
Yeah.
issue.
That's real.
So what are your
That's real.
thoughts on that, man?
I mean, reality is reality, man. Even though somebody else cannot perceive your reality, it's still your reality, right? So if you have a thought and it's inside of your head, and then all of a sudden there's an answer to it or back and forth dialogue to it, you gotta pay that attention. You know what I mean? That shit ain't just coming from nowhere, you know. So what is it? And when you acknowledge what it is, or whether you acknowledge what it is or not, if you at least deal with it, do you listen to it? You know, because it's telling you something. So do you listen to it? Do you go against it? Do you know, does it help you? Does it not help you?
Right.
You know, but I think that the majority of people, if they're honest with themselves, when their brain says something in a quarter of a second, 1 second, you know, under that amount of time, you did not really think about it. You might have had the thoughts, but somehow you had an answer. So if you came up with an answer that fast, what was it? Who was it? Is it true? Is it false? Do you listen to it? You know, me personally, this nigga with the shorts. See what I'm saying? I didn't even say anything, and this nigga with the shorts just walked back through, and I just got the whole shit back to my brain. So apparently, you have to listen to it, right? I just listened to mine because the nigga with the shorts is walking. I was like, nigga with the shorts.
Again, you are seeing how we love, right?
That's how we love. That's how we show love. We show love in a different way than what people might be used to. You know what I mean? Our form of love ain't everybody's form of love. It ain't everybody's cup of tea.
Right. And we're not here to discourage that.
But it's all love, though.
It's the idea of once you expose yourself to different ways of thinking, other people's perspectives, that's how you get to something special, right? That's how you get to something worthwhile. And I think what we're missing with a lot of these situations and these conversations that we're having is listening without an agenda. You know, I explained to my 12-year-old what ulterior motive is.
Exactly.
Right? Like when I tell you, hey, did you leave this mess on the table? Right? On the surface, you might say, no, I didn't leave the message on the table. It could be me. Well, I'm not sure. In all this babbling, right? I said the ulterior motive under that is I'm not trying to get in trouble. right? But if you would just hear
Or
what
go
I'm
back and clean.
right, I'm not trying to get in trouble or go back and click. That's very good. See, you tell you a vet in the game.
Mhm.
And so, but I said, I need you to understand, like, think about it holistically, right? I'm asking you so I can address the correct person to address so we can get this issue taken care of. And in doing so, you
I'm
practice
asking
this.
you from a father's point of view, some shit that
Yeah,
makes sense. But you don't
yeah,
know that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
right, right. No, but that's what I do with my kids sometimes. I let them peek behind the curtain. I ask you to make sure I'm not wasting my time yelling at other people. I need to be yelling at you. Don't worry about the volume. Listen to what's being said. Because I guarantee you, if I said, hey, quick, we just won $1 million, you wouldn't be like, oh, why are you yelling at me? You know what I mean? Don't worry about the volume. Listen to the
Yeah.
information. I said, I'll do
Yeah.
that. So we practice this. So when you are on your own or whatever, or visiting someone's house, you know to clean up after yourself. But do you really
Exactly.
want to hear all that? Or do you want to just get in there and clean that daggone mess up? You,
Right.
you know?
Because you know what I'm gonna say already. We already talked about this behind the scenes, you know what I mean, in front of people. You already know what I'm gonna say. Just do what you're supposed to do. We can spare all this other bullshit. You know, a lot of people don't want to spare the bullshit. I don't know why. That's the part I'm trying to figure out. Is why don't they want to spare the bullshit they know is coming?
Right.
You know I'm gonna have something to say behind your actions. Why don't you want to spare these? You know,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe that's not for me to figure out. I'm not really sure yet.
It's a great question. It's something to be explored. But before we do that, let's take another little chuckle break and look at one of my favorite moms of America right here. As real as can be. Hold on.
Mom,
What?
I'm going to ask you 3 questions, okay? And your answer every time is going to be addicted.
Okay.
All right. So if an alcoholic drinks too much, they are
Addicted.
right. And if a drug addict does too many drugs, they are
Addicted.
right. And what slapped you in the face last night?
Addicted. You're a goofy bitch.
Oh man.
That was terrible. That was good, but that was terrible. That
That was good, but that was terrible. But that's how
good
they
and terrible.
love Mr. Rich. We're trying
But
to
that's
add
how
a
we
bit of
love.
nuance to this
That's how we
conversation,
love.
right?
That's how we love. That's
I can
exactly how we
remember.
love.
I don't know if you remember this dude or not. One of my teammates. Shout out to Sadiq Ziad. I gotta say it the right way because
Of
we
course I
were in the
remember that big motherfucker.
you know,
And
yeah,
the nigga's your size. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, of
taller than
course.
me and just ripped for no dadgum reason. For no reason at all, man. I'm so tired of this Terry Crews muscle bound dude, man. Let me tell you. Again, this is how we love. This is how we
This is
love.
how we love.
Right. Peanut headed dude, man. Just so this dude, like we were on a like public bus somewhere. I don't know. We were weird. I think he definitely had a car, but every now and then we like to do some random stuff, take walks, take public transportation, just for whatever, experience fun. I don't even know.
Yeah,
And we're going back and forth about something very silly, stupid, right? And like people are looking it up, and like I just noticed, I happen to know he don't notice anything ever, and that includes I'm about to put him on Front Street when girls is like, "Hey, what's up with your friend?" It's like, I mean, I could tell him, but I'm telling you now, he's not very you know, he's not very apparent of his stature and why it's appealing. Like his big
yeah,
thing is like, really, what? She what? Mm. Like
yeah.
he's just super skeptical and just so unsure of himself that he kind of just exudes that. So we're going back and forth. And I'm looking around. I'm noticing people just kind of like, oh man, they're tensing up. They're moving away. Like, are they about to fight? And I was like, hey. We'll talk about this later. I said, just look around you. Feel that tension, right? I said, even as I'm narrating this out loud, these people think that we're actually upset with each other. But what they don't know is that we're brothers, and this is how brothers communicate. Now,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's scary for them to see a 6'4", 6'5", muscle bound black dudes. I was in shape then, just seeming
Yeah.
like they're going at each other. And I understand, right? Now, this is what I'm saying to him out loud to make sure they can hear because
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a provocateur at times, But yeah, so that is how we love. That's why I love that clip, man. That mom is something else. It's terrible, but it's great
Hey
and it's
man, it's
real.
necessary. Hey, it is what it is. I said it's necessary, but I don't know if it's necessary. I could be wrong, but it is what it is.
It is what
You
it
know,
is.
and that's been a big part of our community for a long time because at the end of the day, whether you progress past something or you cannot, or you have to lay equivalent to it, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Let
You
me tell
have
you, I
an
used to
option to
hate
lay
that.
down.
Like, it's so much more than just is what it is. I used to hate that, but it is so simple and so true that like I've learned to not fight it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it is what it
mean,
is.
you can attempt to make it negative if you want it to be negative, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it just is what it is, you know? And nothing
Right.
more, nothing less, just is what it is.
Nothing more, nothing less. Now look, we also there's a story out there. I'm trying to think, Mr. Rich. Should I do the story or should I have like some, you know what? Maybe we just take a nice little chuckle break. All right. Or this is more of a public service announcement to you sneakerheads out there who may already know this, but yeah, just go ahead and check this out.
Hi, my shoe has a tear. Can I get a new pair? You bought that almost 2 years ago. There's nothing we can do since it's been over 60 days. She has no idea I know. Watch this. I'm not talking about the 60-day return policy. I've actually read your terms and I know that as long as it's been less than 2 years since the manufacture date found here, it's covered under the warranty. And Nike will either give me a brand new pair or a gift card for the same value. Oh, fine. We don't carry that one anymore, so here's your $100 gift card. Who taught you this? Erica did. She's a lawyer and reads the fine print so that I don't have to. That's why I follow her.
That's
You
inflation.
talk about having some friends in high places, right? Now I need everybody to make sure I have not vetted this for myself, but yeah, check. I would love to know if that's
Shit, man. I got like if I had to guess, I might have like 30, 40 pair of them Levi jeans and shit, right?
yeah.
My mother, I didn't even know this shit, right? My mother said, and if y'all listening, please, I don't care if you watch the shit on playback, whatever, try this shit. I want to know and leave a comment. They say if you got Levi jeans, I don't give a fuck how long you've had them. If you one of them people that got your wallet in your pocket and you keep it there every day and they made an imprint and all of a sudden a hole and it's been 30 years, doesn't fucking matter. The day that hole appears, they say you can send them bitches back. You can call the company, send them bitches back, and they send you a new pair. Now I need
Levi's.
I need
You
to
said
know.
Levi's?
Levi. Yeah, Levi. They say if
I'm gonna have to go ahead and check
anything
that out.
goes wrong with the jeans, you get in contact with the company, you shoot those back to them, they shoot you a brand new pair. I need to know about this because I could have my whole life. I could have bought 10 pair of jeans and been good for my whole fucking life. You know how many fucking pair of jeans I bought? Enough to
Well, look,
decide.
I'm gonna have to go the Levi route now.
Right. You know what I mean? Come on, man. But you got a shopping problem.
Look, man.
Thank
This is what I'm saying. I need people to really get out there. And look, I gotta do better at promoting and all that kind of stuff because I really want to know the answer to that question. I have 4 children. I don't know if y'all aware, but yeah, I need little what do they call them on the interwebs hacks, these life hacks.
Yeah. We all need hacks, man. We got to pass those around to each other, man. We trying to win out here, man. We let's help each other win, man.
But I think that's part of why we try to build the hive minds. You know, you look at other cultures; they do that through family, right? Then they do it through community, and then that sort of oozes out onto the state, you know, the local, state, and national, and even if you look at geopolitics.
I don't think it does. I don't think that's where I don't think it does. I think the first part of what you said was hella true. I don't think it leaks out to anybody. And I think what leaks out.
I mean, as far as when I say sorry, let me be clear about this. When I say leaks out, I mean you may have white people who teach it in their families and teach it in their community, but then that community may use that influence to influence all sorts of legislation that give them an advantage in a myriad of different places on a local, state, national, and global
It's totally
level.
different.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, see that's what I say. I gotta, but that's how we learn. That's how we get better. You call me out, I'll try to dust it up. Does it pass the test? Yeah, man. But yeah, so I think as we do these podcasts, these different podcasts, Who Dat, Tea Talks, this is us building a hive mind, in a sense, right? And we take something that we got from one show and it's splattered on other platforms, and then next thing you know, people who look like us and from where we come from, they have this knowledge as well. And I think that's what we should be trying to do.
I don't just have one mindset, and I don't just keep whatever mindset I come in the game with. Like, I have friends, and my friends, you included, have different mindsets. And when somebody says something that makes sense, you got to be willing to listen. You know what I mean? If you can't listen to something that makes sense, you need to get the fuck out of our way. The rest of us are really trying to do something. You know what I mean? So, thank you, Jay Zilla. Thank you to the rest of my friends that may differ from me, but you can hear me. You know what I mean? I don't need you to be me. I don't need you to be just like me. None of that fucking matters. I just need you to hear me and know that I hear you. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if we both hear each other, we can do something special. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I'm so glad you said that, because let me tell you, I had a situation where someone was trying to get me to sit down and watch the Colin Kaepernick series on Netflix. Right? From what I can tell, very good. But I had my issues, and I was like, I'll watch that on my own. I didn't really want to watch with this particular person. Sometimes you just want to kick back and be able to absorb, and they're just telling me like, no, but you don't. There's some stuff in here that you don't know about. That really bugs me sometimes. Like the goal to make the exception. Right. Well, maybe this show that Colin put on Netflix taught her so much more than I know through my own personal experience or the experiences of people I trust around me who look like me and are from where I am. But that idea of being so sure.
That's when you gotta sit shit back in their lap, right? Like, people mad at Dave Chappelle and for all the shit he said and this and that, right? Who's mad that a man won Woman of the Year 2 years in a row? You got a man that won Woman of the Year 2 years in a row, and you mad at a nigga for calling it out. I think you should be mad.
Oh man. And see, this is a debate. This is a debate that I've found myself in and out. Like, to the point where some jobs that I've had, especially working with universities, you have to take some sensitivity classes. So, I was fine with, because for me, I just enjoy being exposed to different ways of thinking and this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I had was, one, for us who are in here who are ignorant and asking questions, maybe tone down the tone, right? Like, I'm sitting in the class to learn about, your situation and try to be, have some empathy and, educate myself. And I'm being met with, the attitude that you've had against anybody who's ever discriminated against you.
Huge word, empathy. You know what I mean? Next point is, it ain't what you say, is how you say it. You can say whatever you want to say to me. If you say it like you want to fight and I hit you in your fucking face, you shouldn't be offended.
Right.
You shouldn't be offended.
I thought it was interesting, Tony, like taking that class and hearing, because I'm the type, I want to listen to everything first, and then you'll see me like jot down some stuff so I'm not interrupting, right? But other people, you could tell like the wheels were turning, the light bulbs were popping on. They were like, well, so what do you call blah, blah, blah? See, stuff like that is what's wrong. It's like, whoa. Like, we're in here in this class. You think the people who are actually seeking to oppress you are taking a class like this? Maybe not be so hard on your allies. You think, Jim Bob or whomever who is homophobic, and when they see two women holding hands, they're throwing, this is a true story, throwing their beer bottles out the window and hitting you in the back of the head, you think like I'm an ally here. Those people aren't going to take classes like this.
If
You know what I
I'm
mean?
even engaged in the conversation with you, I have some interest. The nigga that won't even engage in the conversation with you, that's your sure and fire enemy. Like, no, that's your enemy.
Right.
But if I'm trying to engage in dialogue and figure something out, whether we're agreeing or not, I'm not your total enemy. We just don't understand each other.
Right.
But there's a whole group of people that they don't give a fuck what you say. They'll drop a bomb right on top of you, your grandmama, and your child at the same time. Without hearing shit you have to say about it. That's when someone's against you. You know what I mean? The people that are trying to hear you out and have a conversation with you, sit your simple, sensitive, soft foot ass down and have a conversation with them.
I can't, man. I'm sorry. I have never heard that term before. I heard it from you.
You know what I
when
mean?
you first said, I was like, man, you got to bring that to the show. That's incredible. Soft foot. Like, I've never in my life heard something like that, man.
Some of these people have been wearing Timberlands the whole life. You know what I mean? And they never come in contact with anything that could hurt it, that could pierce it, burn it, make it feel any discomfort. You know what I mean? Right. Meanwhile, a lot of motherfuckers had their feet right on the street. They know exactly what's happening. You know what I mean? They felt it all. And while they felt it, their body caught up to speed. You know what I mean? They learned how to deal with what was happening. This shit hurts out here on the ground. We need some more padding on these feet. Shit caught up. Evolution. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right, man. Soft foot. I love that. I wrote that down twice by accident. Man, listen, I can't have you out here being soft footed, man. Yeah, man. And it's weird trying to figure out, like, especially now, you know, I have a 16, 12, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, 2 boys, 2 girls, right? And just constantly at their level, that's a different level. That's high school, middle school, you know, preschool, age ranges, and toddler.
Feelings in general.
Yeah, man. Bro, you said it. And trying to explain pretty much the same things to them in different levels, boy, that is a trick and a half. You know, because I can just tell my daughter, my 16-year-old, no, you just got to, it's some stuff you just got to get over. Right? My middle schooler, I may, you know, throw in a little cutesy example. My kids, I just got to show them, the younger ones. You know, and it's a crazy thing to try to navigate. You know, when we get into the gender talk, right? The idea of you know, what is gender? When Dave Chappelle said there are 2 genders, you know, he's talking about from a scientific viewpoint, which is fine. But you also can understand that as well as understand that there are social genders that have now come into creation. Right. But I think in the midst of all that, it's about us just being okay with saying, hey, Karen, it's like, oh, excuse me, I'm Ken now. How dare you? It's like, whoa, my bad. Hey, Ken, give me that hamburger, man. I'm hungry.
Right.
You know? That's a simple, like, for people like us who aren't just seeking out to be hateful and, you know, stop the progress of any other gender. Like,
except you doing something weird and I didn't get it.
Right.
Why do I have to be insensitive or strange? And in actuality, you just doing some weird shit and I didn't understand it yet.
Or worse than that, ridiculed and canceled to the point that we're costing you money. Right? Just like that stuff we talked about the baby. Right? We talked about the baby. But I'm being nosy. What the crap going on over there, Tony? Look, I need something that funny on the show.
I got an in-house audience talking shit to the show and shit. Makes it so much funnier.
Oh, look, hey, you should just like, hey man, you in the house, you got to get on the show. Sorry. Yeah, because I want to know what people think.
If
Because
I
right now we
invited
got 2
somebody on
people.
the show, it'd be these kids that are crazy. This guy in the headphones right here, he probably have all
Uh,
types of shit to say. If you asked him a question seriously, he might have an amazing fucking answer. He's really smart. He's just young. But
I'm trying to
you
figure
know,
out what does that have to do with the view on the show. Like, does he need parental consent? Like, I want these
no,
knuckleheads need to be hearing this.
his parents are around. He don't need parental consent, and he may not listen anyway. He's a knucklehead. Give me a good question, and if he wants to answer it, he'll answer it.
Ooh,
Give me
okay,
a good
okay.
kid question. Give me a
You know
good
what?
teenager.
A good teenager. Look, I love talking to teenagers because let me tell you, trying to understand this gender stuff and explain to my children without hate. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, sitting with my boys, they're 2 and 4, watching. Elmo has a late show, right? It's called a Not Too Late Show, but it's like all these other late night talk shows, but it's Elmo. Yeah, we're sitting
talk
down, they're
show?
playing with it. Yeah, it's like a talk show, but it's Elmo. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. Trust me. I mean, for their age
Wait,
group.
I want you to say because we're gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I want to get him a good question, just because I want to give more points to the show and different views and different.
Right.
But he's also a very intellectual young man. You know what I mean?
But this is what I want. I'm setting it up. I promise you. So I'm setting it up. I promise you. The guest on the show was a comedian, John Mulaney, which is pretty cool. You should check him out. And then there is Lil Nas X. Right now, my natural reflex was like, "Ooh, can't watch this." And then I thought, "Dang, that's cold blooded," because Lil Nas X is also black. You know what I mean? So I had this weird like pull, and so I was like, "You know what? Let me just sit down and watch it." I don't think he's gonna be on here talking about, sucking no dude off or anything like that. Like, I don't think it's that crazy. Let me see. And I looked at it, and it was fine. But that idea of like that first reaction, if I had that naturally in public somewhere, like I just told on this very public platform, please don't cancel us before we get started, right? Like, it was telling how people will react. Hence the baby making his comment, hearing the backlash from all these people, and then deciding, oh, hey, my bad. It wasn't even like that. It was me showing love to the people who was there, my bad. But that wasn't enough. They didn't even allow for enough nuance and his apology. They pulled him from a music festival, a major one at that.
I saw an interview on the Breakfast Club, and it was just by chance. You know what I mean? I drive trucks, so when I'm driving, I try to find an interview. I've listened to all the fucking music I can listen to, and all of the. So I try to find something interesting to watch, listen to, whatever, right? So I like the Breakfast Clubs, good interviews, whatever. So they're talking about Boosie and him talking about that whole situation in Blase Splee. There's a lot of different opinions there, but I think that people are sensitive towards their own opinions, right?
Oh, I really want to know that thought. That pause you had right there was like, what is going through
that
man's head?
That was a father pause.
That was a poor setup. You tell him you tell him to hang around. Hold on, we'll get him a better question after this. Look, we need to take a little breather, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily a break. Eventually, hopefully there's be some sponsors in this spot, but for now we're gonna get a little chuckle. Get a little chuckle. Here we go. I don't know if y'all can read that, but it's like basically talking about a black man raising his black son in a Mexican neighborhood. Little fella was he was killing that track en Espanol. He's just sitting over there with his head in his hands, and his son's just giving it to that track. Boy, it was hilarious. Okay, all right. Can you hear me? Can the teenager there hear me?
Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Okay. As we go through the home Chulo Rich seeks out teenagers. We're looking for different opinions, man. Because, honestly, we're tired of all you people who don't want to listen, who are of the age of 24 and above. And sneakily, I want that 14 to 24 group because I think they're the future, as Michael Jackson would say. Ooh, that's a name. They're the future. So I think if we can reach these 14 to 24 range and get their opinion and impart some wisdom upon them, then maybe we'll be able to get some real things happening in a better situation as Chulo Rich seeks to bring them on. All right, let's watch. Uh-oh.
I don't know, man. We had him when we had him, man. I don't know.
He's gone.
We had him.
See.
What you doing, brother? Yeah, I don't know. We had him.
Hey, look, tell him, look, eventually we're going to get to a point where we're going to be handing out some free gifts for people who are participating. That's the way we're going to do it, man. Like, there's nothing better than just giving some crap away.
It's hard to hit that spot like when it hits you, man, but,
I'm telling you, they're so fickle. And then, like, because I've got a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old, like I said, so preteen, basically teenager, and a teenager full blown. And when I tell you, like, whenever we have those moments that kind of stretch outside the realm of just surface level stuff. Hey, how was your day? I was good. All right, put some music on. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, hey, my teacher was saying something about that. I'm telling you, if I was a dog, you see my ears perk up and my tail start wagging. You know what I mean? Like, ooh,
you
this
can't
sounds
stop
like
that in me, though. You can't stop that. That's just natural for me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna perk up no matter what, and get loud or something. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, man. So it's one of those things of like, man, I understand it. I understand. You got to get them when you can get them, and that's fine. We'll keep trying. But the next, I guess, our final topic, this story of body shaming. So there's a woman's basketball game going on. The opposition's coach is yelling at the refs, what are we supposed to do? She's 300 pounds down there. Now, this gets out and is automatically labeled, stamped, shipped out as body shaming. This is a man. There's no way a man should be commenting on a woman's body, right? And just all these titles. And then the player hears about it and she comes out talking about how she's offended and all that sort of thing. And then someone asks a very real question in the midst of all that. When people were talking to Shaq and complaining, when the opposition's coaches were complaining about Shaq, he's 1,000 pounds, we can't move him off the block. What are we supposed to do, And Shaq that's a compliment in men's sports, but in women, body shaming. And so you and I got to this place of talking about how, what are your demands, Me Too movement? What are your demands, LGBTQ plus? Do you really want to be treated like everyone else? Is it equality? Which I don't believe. I think it's more equability. We'll get into that next show.
If I say she got a big ass back, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm not going to answer that. Hold on just a second.
That was explosive. Exploding on the scene, man. What's happening, Cap? Introduce yourself to the show.
Man, it's Bill. Point blank and simple. And to be honest, if she got a big back, she got a big back. I mean, it ain't got to be a bad thing. Some people love that. Some people don't.
Right.
But we're talking basketball.
It's basketball.
Is a big back bad in basketball?
Everybody needs a big back in basketball. I ain't never been upset when a big man just get his own.
If we want equality, is a big back bad?
No, not at all. Big backs is they're great for equality.
If I'm talking equality in a sport, and I say this big back motherfucker over here, but we're watching the men's game, I just said some good, like I said something positive.
It's a compliment.
That was a positive statement.
Right.
Yeah, you wide back motherfucker, get him. Yeah, you. But if it's a girls' game and I yell out the same thing in a crowd full of people that want equality,
right? I love it. And that's what we're talking about. The overcorrection on every little minute thing. Every little detail. Sports, man, like talking, like trash talking sports is as old as sports. It's just part of it. The idea, like, if you see anybody, any woman who just play ball with, I know for us, Teresa Carter. Point. I mean, you think she was nice on the court? And that's talking crap to men, right? You think she was nice on the court? No, I'm gonna talk trash to you. Like, get out of here. It's
I think that so Django, right?
mm,
Django was about slaves and this and that. But Django said, and so did the slave master. 1 in 10 million, right? So yeah, you're gonna have your 1 in 10 million that's gonna do this and do that and do, you know what I mean? So watching female sports, you're gonna have your 1 in 10 million that's gonna be dunking on girls and Steph Curry in their face and this and that. You Candace Parker's. Overall, it's gonna be like the coach that I had that coached me when I was young, and he quit and he began coaching girls. I won't say his name, but if you know us, you know who. And I remember he pulled me to the side and he told me, "Man, this shit is like watching paint dry." he couldn't take it. You know what I mean?
Man.
The equality is not there. You know, you're asking for it as if it's there,
Right.
but it's not there. It's not the same. And it's not the same disrespectfully. It's just not the same. Respectfully, if we can't get an argument, if we can't have an argument and a fight afterwards, we can't be equal. Because you and I, as large as you are, you're 3 times my size. But I still feel if we have a disagreement. Right. We still have the ability to say, you know what, I agree to fight with you. And then the end of this will determine where we are.
Oh, that's so true, man. That is
but
so true.
That's something we're willing to do. That's a part of our nature and a part of our character. You know what I mean? Right. I recommend that every father watch Lion King with his son. You know what I mean? And probably his wife too. You know what I mean? Now your wife may not get it as easy as your son gets it. But each one of them motherfucking lions up there that was the king, anybody that wanted to challenge him, or it was some shit behind it, right? So when Simba decided he wanted to challenge, it was a fight. When Scar decided he wanted, it was a fight. It was never just, oh, okay, you want my kingdom? Here you go, you can have it. That's not how the shit works. You want the kingdom, nigga, kill me. And if you're not gonna kill me, sit your ass over there with the other smaller lions. But it's like that anymore. You know what I mean? Now what they do is they purposely do things to provoke these lions, knowing that if these lions get caught up in certain things, these lions go to jail or they're just fucking out of the way. You know what I mean? Right. But that's not how the game was made. That ain't fair. That ain't how we play. And if you playing like that, you're not a lion I can play with.
Let me ask you this, because I wrote down here universities. Going back to when I worked for a university, and I literally, had this class I took was mandatory. Chulo Rich. There was no class that was mandatory about how to treat, address, and act around Black people. Not one. LGBTQ plus community class, right? Exactly, right? These like mannerisms, how to deal with the business. I just strikes me as interesting. He's going back to Django. I'm listening.
There was a scene where the first scene where he took Django to work with him, and he was trying to explain to the slave girl how to treat Django. They were telling him he's a free man, and they was like, "He free? What You know what?
Yes, Big Daddy. It was a
How
Texas
we
scene.
supposed to treat him? And
How
he
you
was
supposed to
like,
treat him,
ah,
Big
shit,
Daddy?
I see the problem. You know that Peckerwood down
The
at the
glass
park. You know
mason.
how you
What's
treat
that
him.
name? Right.
What exactly? Well, that's why I want you to treat him. You know,
Right.
and they were from that they were able to understand. You know what I mean? But
Right. Telling the other slaves you can't treat him like any other black folks around here because he ain't like no other black folks. And so what you want us to treat
can't
like white
treat
folks?
this nigga
No,
like
no,
any
I
of the
didn't say
other
that.
niggas because he ain't like the other niggas.
He's
Exactly.
like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, man. And so that's the thing. That's the thing. Going back to these universities that made these classes mandatory to talk about, I mean, women's issues. And look, I'm not saying they're not necessary. I just found it strange to sit in that class as a black dude and hearing these people get not lectured, but like, you know, wagging the finger and here's what you must do for the LGBTQ plus community. Here's what you must do for women on campus. Here's what you must do for, you know, I don't know, visitors.
Nobody likes that.
But you know who's left off the list? Black people.
Exactly.
Hey, you know, they don't really like when you just walk up to them like you're in a petting zoo and touch their hair. You know, like none of that. It didn't exist. And
like
I just
you're trying to like what I don't like is they're trying to solve double and triple rooted problems before the original problem. You have transsexual, gay, all these different titles of black people saying, hey, we're black first, and then we're this, and we're this, and we're okay, that's cool, my brother. We ain't solved the black shit yet.
Mm.
They still mad about the black shit. You add 3-4 more motherfucking titles. We ain't fixed the black shit yet. We really don't have room to add 3-4 new extra fucking titles. But if you choose,
but that's why I disagree. And see, here's my thing. We can do this together. Like, I'm so tired of hearing people, well, this is America. It's 300 plus million. It's not like some other smaller countries. Like, I'm so tired of hearing that excuse. You, America, who's telling us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, but it's too hard to do all this at once. How about start with this? Don't frap and stop me from living in the neighborhood if I can afford to live there. Right? LGBTQ couple, don't tread on them because you don't like their sexual orientation. Right? Women, why do you think it's okay to treat them the way you're treating them? It comes down to the people at the very tippy top of this entire world who are having us fight each other over the scraps. Like we're not all in this together.
It comes down to bullshit.
And I hate to keep saying, you know, white people. It's not white people, right? Like my boy Craig, who joined us last week, man. We know plenty of good people, right? But I'm saying even in
if you
those
take all that shit out of it,
right?
You know, I don't want to use any certain religion, so use any, you know. But is one sin greater than another?
Right.
Well, if the answer is no, then I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Right.
You know,
I love how people look at that.
There's no one
too.
sin greater than another, then if you fucked up and I fucked up, and we both know we fucked up, then we both have a fuck up to attend to.
So you're talking very biblically now, right? Where how God looks at sin. God looks at one sin the same as the other. And a lot of people are saying like, well, you know, a little white lie, that means big lies. He doesn't really mind that. But like, no, he's looking at all of it as horrific and an affront and disrespectful. And he ain't gonna be disrespected too much longer.
And factually, you could die from a white lie too.
Ooh.
And why is it a white lie?
Hold on, man. Let me. Why is it a white lie? Right. It's not a white lie. It's a lie. It's just a lie. It's just a lie. You know what? Take a quick break. Hold on.
She used to do that a lot when she first met me.
Oh my god!
What?
Cochino.
I promise you, I am so sorry that these videos are bigger, but the captions is everything for me. She's gargling at the sink in front of her kids or whatever. I feel like this is weird having to explain the joke. Wife gargling at the sink. The dad makes a slick little comment. She's do that all the time before y'all got here, basically, right? And so the daughter's freaking out. What? And the wife is, oh, that's nasty. You're nasty. He said, but did I lie though? And she goes, obviously no. Like, come on, man. Yeah, this probably great. I'll figure out how to do these clips and videos a little bit better, people. Bear with us. But every now and then, we gotta take a breath because we're discussing and getting into some deep, muddy waters, but we don't want to forget to laugh. Let's ease some tension and move forward. White lies. Is there such a thing?
I think that I speak a language that I didn't make up, so I don't have anything to do with that part. But what's the difference? I do understand what I understand. You know what I mean? So I've heard the term white lie. What's a black lie?
Well, according to Coach John Gruden formerly of the Raiders, right? Any lie that black people tell.
My guy says a black lie is a bold lie.
It's a bold lie. Who makes these rules? Who makes these rules? As we are.
Bold means bigger, darker. Black means bigger. No, you're just being funny.
Whoa, baby. Oh no, but that's the idea. Like, who's making these rules? Who's deciding these rules? And I think when you get into the weeds of things, of how this leaks first into the universities and then into our legislation, because that's the pool from which they come from, primarily, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that we kind of bolster one group over the other, and then we make this weird pecking order when it really needs to be looked at as the group, which are the people who are being oppressed in a myriad of different ways, versus the ones who are doing the oppressing. That's it. And we're not talking about just white people. It's more of a, as we discussed before, it's more of a class warfare than anything. Because there are plenty of poor white people who are just as disenfranchised, and it's incredible. It's incredible to see. Yeah, but I don't like these. Who's making these dadgum rules? There's no black lie, white lie. It's lies. That's what I'm trying to teach my kids, man. There's lying, and then there's telling the truth. I don't see very much gray area.
It's money.
It's money.
Money.
All right.
It ain't never been a broke motherfucker in the history of time to sit down and lie down rules. At the end of the day, you always gonna follow the money. And if you ain't following the money to see what's happening, you don't know what the fuck going on. I always know what's happening, whether I act like I know what's happening or not, because I always follow the money.
Oh man, when you get into the weeds about
the money, I don't care what the broke nigga doing. I don't give a shit what the broke nigga doing. I'm gonna find out where the money's going and where it's coming from. That's the nigga making the decisions. That's who's doing it. It's not the other nigga. He has no clue. Everything costs him.
Yeah.
I can't go fishing without paying for a fishing license.
Right.
How many fucking fish it is?
Wait, unless you got to a point where you own your own lake that's getting stocked and all that sort of thing. There are workarounds for the haves, right? Why the have
How much they gonna charge me for that?
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Shit.
And look, I love how you said, follow the money. We talked about this before, about the DARE program being created by, I don't know if it's Koch brothers, but like big corporations, right? I know they're big tobacco, alcohol, because they didn't want this ridiculously cheap, easy thing to grow. It will knock out drugs. Pharmaceuticals, right? It will knock out big pharma. It will knock out big alcohol, big tobacco, and even coke. Why? Because marijuana is that good and it handles so many different things, right? So they come together, they create this DARE program, DARE, to keep kids off drugs because we care about your children. Meanwhile, alcohol, cigarettes, and the Coca-Cola is legal. All the way legal. And most of our deaths come from heart failure and heart disease and all these things that come from high fructose corn syrup and bad eating habits, smoking and drinking. Like, that's incredible. Like you said, those people were the ones who were making a big splash, right?
That's
They're the
just
ones making the
business.
decisions.
It's just business. They had to jump on the information and what was going to happen before we did. That's all. If we had to jump on the information and what was going to happen based on what that product did before they did, we would have done the same thing. I don't believe otherwise. Maybe we would have done the same thing. That would be nice. Like my internal spirit would have done a little better. But if you take that and you put it with all the other niggas, I don't know what the fuck would happen. I don't know. I know me personally, yeah, I'm not really, you know, I kind of want people to be good. You know what I mean? Like, if you're good, I want you good. You know, all that other shit don't really matter. I just want people good that are good. But we're talking about what actually happened, how it happened, and why it happened. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, like, and that's why I don't try to go too deep into it, and you know, bring in points that really don't even matter. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like all of this different shit that we go through in America, you had somebody claim that they discovered this place, right?
Right.
So that means you're one of the first few people to be there that you're saying, whether people were there or not, whatever. If I tell you, me and my brother discovered this whole continent, and when we got there, we had some guns, a few drugs, some food, some guns.
I like this list.
Things. Shit that they didn't have already.
Right.
And you ask me, do you think y'all will be running shit in 20 years? You motherfucking right, I do. I think in 379 years or 379,000 years, we'll be running shit. That's what I
just found our next writing project, bro. I said the next writing project, like we're out here. Well, listen, here's the premise for our movie. You ready? I don't know. Maybe we'll stretch it out for a series like all these other people. Water it down. You get Bills involved, the misses, whatever. Right? We write this movie where black people come over here and just make that claim. And instead of having to, you know, steal a bunch of us, we just, hey man, we got this land. I'm telling you, it's right for the picking. We work with the indigenous people. They show us the secrets of the land. You know what I mean? Can you imagine that? And then fast forward, we got Wakanda happening right here in America. Let's go.
I'm ready to see it.
Bills, what's the title, Bills, what's the title?
You gotta help write it, motherfucker. You come on, run
it. Bills, what's the title, bro? What's the title? We get here. First,
I don't know. We gotta sit down into that one.
But instead of like, think about the pattern that the Moors took, right? We're gonna do an exchange of goods, resources, and information. We take that same mindset across to America. And indigenous people are sharing, okay, here's how you run this land. Here's how things work. And we're working together with them. And instead of killing them all off by, you know, smallpox blankets or, you know, our higher weaponry or whatever, and then getting them to kind of crash into each other by making their land and territory shrink more and more and more, right? Boom, we work with them and build this crazy metropolis. Right, free from American slavery, anything like that. So instead of, and even think about this, even Black history being taught in that version of America's classrooms, right? You wouldn't have American slavery as a starting point. There's American slavery, there's Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks.
Well, see, that's the funny thing about it. That's the funny thing about it. It depends on what perception you're talking from, right? Because technically, that is the starting point. The businessmen that were behind slavery, I ain't mad at the motherfuckers. They were smart. They had a business transaction in mind. They did not want to buy merchandise, nor come up with a way to, like, this was as simple as it goes. This was as as simple as a fucking thought as you could have, you know. And they turn that simple fucking thought into billions of dollars. I ain't never been a hater, you know what I mean? So what I'm not gonna do is say that was stupid or this or that. If it was stupid, then why the fuck do you label them winners?
Right. So if you take that ideal of just a business mindset, right? If you take morality out of it, it's very smart, right?
Yeah. Business and morality is not the same fucking thing. Morality and business don't have shit to do with each other. And racism.
No, I disagree with that. It definitely should. It definitely should. There are plenty of examples we have out there with moral.
Now to me, that means if I'm running a community business, I need to have some morality. But if I'm not running a community business and my only interest is a bottom line, there's none of that other shit in play. And you can't convince me that people that do business on a high level give a fuck what I feel or you.
Right.
These niggas want their bottom line. We don't. Our thoughts don't compare to what they spend on taxes, so they don't give a fuck.
But that's all I'm saying. I think there are plenty of places across the globe, especially, right? Because I feel like this is very much American idea of you just got to get there and stab them in the back before they stab you. Like, it happens everywhere, but there are plenty of places where, like, bigger countries than America itself that seem to have a certain level of symbiotic like relationships, right? If you think about the Galapagos turtles and the birds that land on them, I'm gonna let this bird land on me and eat all this fungi and stuff off me. He gets full and I get clean, and we both are better off for it. There's a way of doing that. But the ideal is I gotta be faster, bigger, stronger. I gotta be first to the top of the hill, and then I gotta cap anybody else trying to come up behind me because I want to maintain this position. Not by having just a superior customer service or product, but by
I don't think it's about a reality or a thought. Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't make sense. It's not about a thought. It's about a reality. The reality is this bull is much bigger than this bird. And he's not threatened in any way by anything that this fucking bird does. No matter what. And that's the reality.
It's fear-based then, right? We've had this conversation before.
It is what it is. This bird can never conquer.
Look, you gotta forgive me here, right? Bear with me. Because while you don't like picking at the details and all that sort of thing, like you go straight to it is what it is. Right? So we're talking about the tortoise there, right? Who doesn't really have a way to fend himself off or anything, right? The idea that this thing. Huh?
I said, does he not?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, we're using the imagination here. If he just folds into his shell and rolls over and smash the birds, right? Like beyond that. All right, bad example. But I think the ideal of the moral, like, it's fear driven. This guy with this hood. This luchador.
No, I'm saying is this not what the turtle does?
Yeah.
So can you get to me? Where am I?
I mean, inside the shell, inside the covering.
Inside the fucking.
So you're saying you're going back to.
So that's what they
there's
do.
No
for,
threat.
Right?
You're saying there's no threat. So that was a bad example because there are places where you see, even in the wild or even in different regions of the world, where people work together. They don't have to. But what you're saying is the morality being taken out of commerce like that is really because it's fear driven, right? Because if I had this, right, I know what I would do with it, but because I'm afraid of that happening to me, I need to do it to them first. So we think about global population. If you take into account the entire the world's population, white people are technically the minority. But like we talked about before, there came a time where the Pope looked around and saw what was happening and was like, hey, we need to stop all this infighting. You're no longer Irishman. You're no longer Scott. You're no longer Brit. What we are white people, and the dark-skinned man is coming across to steal your children and frap your wives, right, and daughters. And that ideal of putting that to use and coming up with all these immoral ways to bring people to heal is what they deem as the only way of survival. When instead they could have been like, they could have done what anybody else did, which is let's trade resources and knowledge and live together. And I think that's what we're missing here. Even if you think about Lion King, I love how you brought that up. Lion King is actually based off of a Shakespeare play, Hamlet, right? It's a power grab. The part where Scar looks at the king's assistant, the bird, right? And the bird Scar looks at the bird and he says in front of his brother, he's like, well, why don't you just challenge him then? He's like, oh, well, as far as brains go, I got the lion's share, but when it comes to brute strength, well, I'm left at the shallow end of the gene pool. And so what does he do? What does he do? He has to immorally plot the death of his nephew and his brother to usurp power. Because if
as I was telling somebody today, right? Anytime you have to plot on a motherfucker, you're a dirty individual. Because what it takes
something about how you said that was hilarious.
What it takes to plot on an individual versus react to an individual is a huge fucking difference. Right. And the fact that the uncle made a whole entire plot to kill the father, who's the king, shame the son, who's the prince, get him to leave the kingdom because of the shame that he plotted on him to have, and then take over like, you dirty mother. Anybody who could ever, it's the fact that you can sit down in peace. The fact that you can sit down in peace. It's not like you're at war and somebody's shooting at you and you got to make a decision and you made the wrong one. You're sitting down in peace, trying to figure out how to disturb another person's life. At that point, I kind of feel like you're a fucked up person. People do make reactions. People do the wrong thing or do something that they might do different had they had more time to react.
Right.
But a motherfucker that will take their time, sit down, and plot against your reactions, well, goddamn. You know, my son's favorite show, my baby son, is Boss Baby.
Wait, what is it? Boss Baby.
They have a crew of babies that sits in
I'm aware. Yeah.
Anytime something happens, they have this crew of babies that sits in a room and comes up with every possible outcome to a situation. This is a baby show.
My man said Boss Baby because they're helpless. They can't just square up on you, right? So what they gotta do? They gotta come up with. First of all, they gotta join together. It can't be this baby, that baby, this black baby, this Mexican baby. It's all babies. We're all babies in this, and these adults are out of control. And here's what we need to do, right? Exactly. I love it. I love it. Exactly. The idea that Scar, like in Lion King, literally sits back and was like, "Hey man, I'd slice this dude's throat if I thought I could." Like that's some bold stuff to say.
You know what? That was the motherfucking Holocaust. You had one. Wait.
Hold on to that point.
I never even saw that.
Hold on. We gotta do our last little chuckle break. All right. My man said the Holocaust. Just hang on.
Don't be mad at me. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
She said it's an F word, but shh. Don't be mad at me. It was her.
Okay.
She said shit.
Daddy.
Your girls laugh at the end though, right? Look, don't be mad. Don't be mad. That is absolutely my son. I love that video. All right. Okay. We've had our last chuckle break, Mr. Rich. Come on, man. This Holocaust? Tread carefully, my friend. I care about you.
I really don't see too much of a difference there. I really don't.
So when I think about that, when you say that right there is the Holocaust, it lines up perfectly about what we've been saying. If you think about a country who is the size of Wisconsin, geographically, right? Wisconsin. That country is the size of one of our states. And what did he do? He took all that fear and struggle and he went step by step in the dictator handbook. First, you want to discount media and talk about just how horrible and horrific and they're all lies. Everything they're trying to tell you are lies. Then you want to otherize people, right? First, it started with black, brown, others, right? Then
with himself.
Yeah. Well, so the idea. Okay, so after World War I, he's actually a war hero, but he's speaking out against the government. Hitler is in prison, right? Hitler he's making all these speeches. He's writing Mein Kampf and all these things to explain, one, you didn't fail. Person who tried to do a business and it just failed. No. You didn't fail. Your government failed you. As a matter of fact, these others, black, brown, whatever, right before they went to the Jewish people, it was people who very clearly looked differently, right? And then he withered it down to the Jewish people, right? The idea that it's not your fault. It's their fault. They're the ones who came into this wonderful, beautiful, pure white country and took these things from you, right? And I promise you, you give me a chance and I'll take care of them. I'll take care of your poor leadership in government, and I will show you strength like you've never seen before. We will rise to the top where we always should have been from the beginning. It's nuts. He's the size of Wisconsin, and what does he do? He just pokes here, pokes there, and eventually, like, he's owning France. Owns France, bro. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Why? He took all that fear-based stuff and taking that fear and saying, hey, I know you're fat, sloppy, and you don't want to work, so you don't work, and that's why you can't afford stuff. But that's not your fault. That's his fault. Man, how many people lined up behind that ideology? And how many people still do now? It's incredible. The Holocaust, he says. Look, man, you got my dork brain whirling.
The average person, and I put myself in that conundrum as well. But the average person will not take accountability for themselves, and the average person does not pay attention to what the fuck is going on right in front of them.
That's it. I love how you take all my babble and just wither it down to something valuable and easily digestible.
It's because people care about
the dynamic to the show.
When you love somebody, when you care about somebody, you downsize, you downplay, you belittle some of the things that they do, even if they hurt you. My man, what's that? My man.
But let me tell you, before we get up out of here, man. Who's this?
Nephew, tell him what you did at the soccer game today.
I won a medal.
And you killed it. Nephew won a medal and he killed it today. Just so everybody.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Excellence. Excellence, man. That's what we do. Yes. We keep holding examples like that up. We're gonna be just fine. I think when it's all said and done. But I want people to understand out there, the easily digestible thing is hurt people, right? We're the only being who understands how, why we feel pain on an emotional, spiritual level, right? You can hit a dog, and it can understand, oh, that hurt. What the crap is that about? Let me recalibrate my actions to make sure that don't happen again, right? Babies do that too. But we're the only being who understand how to hurt emotionally and spiritually. And so because we understand how we're hurt, we understand even better how to hurt others. And I think that's what it comes down to. And it's all fear-driven.
And that's why we're hurt more. We're also hurt more because We understand that. We understand that. So as a person that's going to hurt you even more, I understand that you understood what you just did when you hurt me. So when I react with more hurt,
Oh yeah.
it's because I understood that your stupid ass understood what you were doing. But that's not acceptable. So if that's not acceptable, then we should chill out with the hurt overall.
Right. Man, one of my favorite examples of that was one of the James Bond movies, right? And the villain is sitting here and he's talking very villainous, and very calm and cool as he's got this James Bond, our heroine, right, strapped down, or our hero, sorry, heroine, our hero strapped down and about to torture him. And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, Mr. Bond. I won't do anything so grotesque as to peel back, fingernails or anything like that. No. We have refined it much, much more than that, Mr. Bond, right?" And what he does, he puts his contraption in his mouth, right? Drills through the teeth and is just working one nerve. And when you see like James Bond's like gripping up and tensing up, and I think about that now with the conversation we're having, is that dude had a toothache. It was like, man, this is terrible. Put that on the list for torture.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everything else went away. The stretching out the limbs, the puncturing people. Like, no. We don't have to exert that much. We'll just wrap up and we'll just wrap his tooth nerve up, man. He'll tell us whatever we want to hear to make that stop. But all right, man. Look, as usual, we're gonna do this last word, Mr. Rich. Let him have it.
Once again, man, I appreciate y'all for joining in another episode of Urban Academia. We will be back next Saturday. We'll have more interesting topics to discuss. I could possibly be with my nephew who may have a medal to show you like he does right now. You know what I mean? And if not, we'll still have a great topic for you. We'll build. We'll spend some time together. We'll love on each other. We'll help each other. One love, much love. See y'all next week.
For you.